Yo, it's your boy Vega Bomber, and welcome to my Avengers Infinity War spoiler review. That's right, spoiler review. Finally, I can get into the nitty gritty and talk all about this film. Let me just say, first impressions right off the bat, loved it. I mean, come on, it's the Russo brothers. In fact, we just got to give mad props right now to the Russo brothers because they did Winter Soldier, which was a good film. Some say it's a great film. You had Civil War, which that one I like a little better, so I will call that a great film. And then I will say now you've got Infinity War, and I will say, given the complexity of dealing with all those different characters, this was done on master level. This was Jedi master level. This was mogul mode in terms of money. This was billionaire status. This was straight up player. This is the way this had to go down, and I think the Russo brothers did great. So let me start with that. So basically, this is the 19th movie out of 18. So 18 movies have been setting up this character of Thanos. So you know Thanos was going to be important. And the Russo brothers rightfully focused on Thanos because they should have. He's the main thing. And they made him the main thing. And boy, was it juicy. I loved every detail. I ate it all up. It was fire, straight flames, as I believe is the vernacular today. So basically the synopsis, it's Thanos. He's got the Infinity Gauntlet. He needs all the different stones, one for each knuckle and then one that goes right here on the back. And once he gets that, it'll make him basically all powerful. He's omni everything, if you will, except for omnipresent. That he can't be, but either way, he's powerful in everything. So you got the mind, the soul, the space gem, all of that stuff, the time gem, all of it. If you put it all on one gauntlet together, he can harness that power, and with a snap, stuff's over with. Stuff can be done. People can die. That kind of power. So essentially, the Avengers have to stop him, clearly, from getting something like that. And it's going to take the 23 or 24 of them, because as this movie starts off, Thanos ain't no punk. So this movie starts off with the very ending of Thor Ragnarok, and it has the pounding, the absolute demolition of the Hulk by the Titan. The Mad Titan himself, Thanos. So that's a great way to go. To start off by taking your strongest warrior, and you could debate whether it's Thor or Hulk or Tony Stark in the Hulkbuster gear, but I'm going to say it's Hulk. Hulk is the strongest because the madder he gets, the stronger he gets. Well, Thanos beat him up and took his lunch money and dared him to go tell the principal about it. I mean, it was that bad. He showed you that he knew how to fight. Thanos is more than just raging and Hulk smash and that sort of thing. Thanos went in with some combinations and an uppercut and some punches, and he threw some punches in bunches, which is what you do when you start getting off with your hands and you're nice with your hands, and he did that. So, oh my gosh, it starts there, and then eventually it's going to lead him to come to Earth because there's a gemstone here on Earth, and that would be on Vision's forehead, or his 8 head as it might be. Oh, that forehead he has. But at any rate, you know he's going to have to go get all the other stones. He needs Gamora to go get the soul stone. They show that. A soul for a soul. Gamora has to die. And by the way, since I'm talking about death, let me go there. The film kills off, and hopefully see if I can get this in order. Kills off Loki, Heimdall, Gamora, pre-snap, and then after he snaps his fingers, then it's Winter Soldier, Black Panther, Falcon, Scarlet Witch, Groot, Star-Lord, Spider-Man, and Drax, and then in the after-credit scene, Kobe Smulders, and, believe it or not, Samuel Jackson or Nick Fury, but really, that's just Samuel Jackson playing himself. If you don't believe that, listen to his few comments there before he got zapped. Mother! And of course, what he has there is a pager, 90s style, because in the pager window, what you could see is it's going to show you that it's Captain Marvel that they're going to bring in next. So we'll get her movie here pretty soon before the conclusion to this one. But let's go back to the film. I'll start off with the things that I absolutely loved about this film. I like that opening scene. I like seeing Hulk get trounced because it set the tone to let you know who Thanos is. This is a bad, bad boy. Not only is he smart, has his own philosophy, but also he's nice with his hands, and he's not just, I'm strong and I'm big and therefore just dodge my punches. No, he knows how to throw those fists, and you can see it. Another scene that I liked was when they had him on Titan, and they almost had him. They almost had the gauntlet off of him, because it shows how powerful he is, but also shows how when they work together, that's how you beat somebody. You don't take turns showing up one at a time so he can swat you. You overwhelm him at once. So I don't understand why Captain America, Winter Soldier, Black Panther, and the others on Earth decided to take him on one-on-one. That was kind of stupid. If you're going to beat Thanos, you're going to have to all gang tackle him all at once. That's how it has to work. But for some reason, I guess Cap and them weren't smart enough to figure that out, and they just went at him one by one and got swatted like nothing to it. So I love that scene. I love the scene where Thor shows up after getting Stormbreaker made, which in the comic book, Stormbreaker is the name of the hammer that Beta Ray Bill uses. If you don't know who Beta Ray Bill is, Google. And there was also in the Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon, there was a episode called The Ballad of Beta Ray Bill. Google it and watch it. But Beta Ray Bill is one of my favorite characters, and man, well, anyway, I could go off on a tangent about him, but I think he's an awesome superhero as well. But at any rate, Stormbreaker is the hammer that he's using now, or axe really, and Groot uses some part of his limbs as part of the handle. I thought that was pretty cool too. But just when he came in there and he hit Thanos with that, and you see him just right in his heart, and Thor saying, I told you you were gonna pay for what you did. And that was good, because, you know, Thor should be mad. We should see aggressive Thor, because, I mean, Loki was killed in front of him. His parents have been killed. All this bad stuff that's happened to Thor starts to sound like a country western song after a while. All the bad stuff that's happened to him, right? And really, in this film, everybody, because Peter Quills wasn't great either, and Black Panther lost his father. I mean, everybody has a tragic story. Is what's kind of interesting, that we see how similar these characters are, but then different at the same time. That's one of those threads. I think another favorite scene of mine was just watching the banter between Doctor Strange and Iron Man, because they're both really smart, erudite type characters who have big egos, and to see them kind of thrash each other a little bit with the verbal jabs was pretty awesome. Yeah, I loved a lot about this film, if you couldn't tell. The only thing I would say, because I know some of you are waiting to hear what I didn't care for too much, and I'll flesh this out in some other videos. The only thing I didn't care for too much was I thought from a pace perspective, they spent a little bit too much time on showing Thor getting Stormbreaker made. I thought there was at least an extra 8 to 10 minutes they could have cut out of that scene. Like, we get it. Groot's going to become the handle. He's going to mold it. Just to have him go in there and rebuild it and refix it and use himself as... I mean, I thought that scene dragged on a bit. And I felt like the Gamora and Thanos scene dragged on. And mainly, I would say, I just didn't believe it. Right? And here's the reason why I don't believe the relationship between Thanos and Gamora. Because, first of all, Gamora was just a kid that was on a planet when all these other kids were dying too. And just because she was scrappy, how do you know the other kids weren't scrappy too? I mean, if they're losing their moms, kids get scrappy. But for whatever reason, and I just took it more as he was trying not to let her see what he was doing by giving her that little sword that she would have to play with, because he saw that she had a warrior spirit in her. But I don't think that's enough to say, oh, he loved her to death. Why would he love her out of all the other kids that are being killed and destroyed? I mean, it just doesn't, to me, I just didn't buy it. I mean, I understand why they did it. It's a plot convenience. They needed to have that for the Soul Stone, because the Soul Stone is all about a soul for a soul. So I get that. I'm just going to say I don't think he's going to get Father of the Year anywhere. I don't buy that relationship between them. But then again, that's just me. I would say that another scene I thought should have been better is I think Tony Stark should have died. But I will also accept the fact that maybe Doctor Strange saw something, and that's why Tony needed to stay alive. And so I'm okay with that. But I really feel like, come on, Marvel, if you're going to kill people, kill them for real. And by the way, all those characters that died post-snap, we all know that they're going to come back. They got movies planned, so we know they're not going to die. They will be back. Yeah, we just know that, because it's the MCU. So I was not really worried about any of the people that vanished, because, you know, they're all the new team. And notice it was the OG that stayed alive. The old Avengers were still there, and the new Avengers were all the ones that were plucked away. Mostly, actually, all of them were. So it seems like to me, maybe if it's a Soul Stone thing, maybe just a theory, is maybe the old team has to be prepared to give their life to the new team. And maybe that's how some of the old guard pass on. And maybe a couple others die at Thanos' hand. Because if he's already killed a couple, he shouldn't stop now and become Mr. Nice Guy Thanos just because he got what he wanted. He should just be just as fierce to protect that serene, I got a house where I can look over the countryside and just relax and rest, which is what I think he said he wanted. So I think those were probably my only real issues with the film. Outside of that, that does not stop this film from being great. I would also say that there were some times where the joking was kind of getting on my nerves a little bit. Again, I know it's the Guardians of the Galaxy and they have to joke like that, but the whole, hey, he's a pirate angel and all that stuff, after a while you can almost predict kind of this, what kind of corny lines they're going to say, because it was there. And actually Star-Lord is pretty much a douche in this one. They really made him pretty douchey, and I don't know. I just thought that while you needed some humor in the film, I felt like in some places, not always, but in some places they put a little bit too much. Now I've heard the argument, oh, well, that was just them kind of trying to deflect some of the seriousness of this film because the film was very dark. No, they've been joking up this whole time anyway in all the other films, so I don't buy that necessarily. Again, I don't mind jokes. Look at Star Wars, the original trilogy, New Hope. Han Solo cracked jokes. They were sarcastic jokes that fit the moment, but it wasn't every moment. And in here, look at this stuff blowing in on me. That's what you do when you do it outside with windows open, right? When you have windows open. Yeah, so I guess to go back to it, yeah, those were the only things I'd have to say maybe I didn't care for too much. If I really just nitpicked, I would have probably liked to see a little bit more Black Panther using the claws. Like, I really wanted to see him like he was in Civil War. We didn't get as much of that, and I understand why in Black Panther, so I was hoping this time around we'd see claws out Panther a little bit more than just him punching those venom-faced dogs that were attacking them with multiple arms or whatever they were. I would have liked to see that, but again, that's just a nitpick, and I own that one. I mean, surely the movie was fine. It was very, very good. So yeah, I will just say, in terms of the ending, what's my interpretation of the whole film? I feel like at the end of the day, Stephen Strange saw something, and he knew that out of the 40,605 different scenarios he saw, only one played out where they could win. And I'm imagining it has something to do with Tony Stark being smart enough to figure certain things out, and that's why he had to live. And I think that's why he went ahead and traded a life for the stone, even though he spent several times setting up earlier that if it came down to Spider-Man, him or the stone, he would protect the stone over Spider-Man and Iron Man. So I feel like there's something to that. And I'll have to say, Russo brothers, good on you. That is smart. That is very smart that you did that. But then again, I wasn't surprised. You guys did great with Winter Soldier. The Russo brothers did great with Civil War. Love Civil War. Still one of my favorites before this film. Give me a couple more days to decide where I put Infinity War. I'm not sure if it's ahead of Civil War or equal to or right on just under it. I still have to think some more about this because this was deep, man. This movie was serious. At 2 hours and 40 minutes, this movie was serious. And we got to see a little bit of everything. We got to see some seriousness, some drama, some relationship building here, because we saw the relationship between Gamora and Star-Lord. We saw the relationship between Wanda Maximoff, or Scarlet Witch, and Vision. I liked how she was calling him Viz. She already has a little nickname for him. And evidently it's been 2 years since the events of Civil War, so I thought that was pretty good. I like the fact that they didn't have just Tony and Cap all of a sudden just being buddy-buddies, because at the end of Civil War, I didn't think they were going to be buddy-buddies right after that. That would have been too easy. So I love the fact that Tony was still sitting on the fence about whether they even wanted to call Cap. So once again, Russo brothers, good call. I like that you didn't make it to like, oh yeah, well, because plot, we need to be friends now. I like that they did. I guess I just thought of something else. I guess if there was something else I'd really like to have seen too, is would have liked to have seen a little bit more out of Captain America 2. He had very few lines in this one, which may have been perfect at the end of the day, but for right now, after only seeing the movie twice, I would have liked to see just a little bit more Cap. But you know, again, of course I would, right? Because I love Cap. He's only my second favorite superhero in the Marvel Universe, only second to Black Panther. So I guess I should just be happy that I have Captain America and Black Panther in a movie fighting side by side. And by the way, wasn't it cool when they just put on the jets and they took off and ran away from everybody to run out there to go fight? I love how him and Cap were just boom. And I guess Cap got some speed boosters since Civil War, because in Civil War he couldn't catch Bucky and Black Panther. And by the way, where was Bucky? Shouldn't he have been up there also? but I guess maybe he's flanking out somewhere else or something. Who knows? Yeah, that's it. This movie was great. I loved it. What did you think? I will meet you in the comment sections. Let me know. Was this movie great? Where does this movie rank for you? Did you think it was boring? Was it too slow in some areas for your own good? Did you dislike some of the decisions, like the decisions to kill basically all the newer Avengers, or were you just fine with it? Either way, I'll meet you in the comment section and we'll chat it up. All right, it's your boy Vega Bomber, and I am out. Yup. It's still Wakanda forever, baby. Yup. How do I drive with these?